are the 5 coaches and GMs that I'm waiting to hear from at the Combine. You see, a lot of these guys are going to be at the podium and being grilled by both the local and national media. Here are the 5 people I want to hear from. We start at number 5. It's the wheeling, dealing master of all, the crown prince of offseason activity, Howie Roseman. Is this the offseason that A.J. Brown is dealt? How come Sean Mannion was the offensive coordinator selected? How do they get back to being the best roster in the sport? Howie, always ready for the questions, always ready for the heat. He's number 5. Number 4, Jets head coach Aaron Glenn. Here he is in a happy moment against Tampa Bay, running down the sideline. They lost that game, and they lost a lot of others. They also fired their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. They don't have a quarterback in sight, and he still kept his job throughout it. So Aaron Glenn, what is the plan in New York? Number 3, Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Is Lamar coming to OTAs? Does it matter? How's that first month been with your quarterback? What contact have you had with Lamar? They made a big change this offseason. Is Jesse Minter ready for what's up ahead in Baltimore? Number 2, similar kind of conversation. I want to talk to Joe Brady. What's his plan to get his quarterback over the hump? They hired from within. They swore it wasn't just a favor to Allen, that this wasn't his guy. No, they swore that this is the best candidate for the Buffalo Bills job. What's he got in store to get them where Sean McDermott couldn't? And number 1, not as familiar a name, Raiders general manager John Spytek, his second year on the job. And as much as we're talking about Fernando Mendoza in that first pick, I am more focused on the best player on that roster, Mr. Maxx Crosby. Is Crosby on the move? Because there is a lot of smoke going into Indy. Is there fire where there's smoke? We will see. I bring in our good friends Dominique Foxworthy and Jason McCourty. Neek, everyone's talking about Maxx Crosby trade destination. What's up?
You said Foxworthy. His face.
Jeff Foxworthy. You know you're a redneck when. I'm sorry.
His face.
My bad, dude. McCourty.
James Worthy, Foxworthy. I get it.
McCourty.
Yes.
Foxworthy.
Yeah, that's better.
I got you, Neek. I got you. I got
Done. I'm no longer guest hosting. See, Greeny would not make that mistake. Mike Green, give me another. Green E. That's it. That's
Blueberg.
That's it.
Yeah.
Blueberg. That's
There you
fine.
go.
Back to the question at hand. Neek, Maxx Crosby, trade target or no? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that Maxx Crosby he's at a premier position and he's an impact guy. Any team that is trying to make a run would like to get Maxx Crosby. And it seems pretty clear that the Raiders are in rebuild mode and they'd like to get this trade done, my guess is, if it's going to happen, before the draft so that they don't have to wait till next year to use those picks. Just stock up now and start to collect picks and players before this year's draft so that they can start this rebuild process. But yeah, Maxx Crosby is a game wrecker. He can close out games for any contender in the league.
J-Mac, I want to give some context for the viewers for your perspective on this. So Jason McCourty also calls games for CBS, called a lot of Raiders games where you spoke to coaches and people in the organization. I did too. I did 2 Monday night games with the Raiders. He is beloved in that organization. First guy in the room, last one out. Do you see them actually moving on from him?
I do, and I go back to you just mentioned calling games. I remember calling a game against the Houston Texans, and I'm standing on the sideline with one of the players. He's like, man, Maxx Crosby is playing with a torn meniscus. Like, he has a knee injury, and he is still out here playing, not just playing 100% of the plays. You fast forward a week later, he was told that he wasn't going to be playing the remaining few games of the season. And then you get the visual of him shooting the basketball at home. And I think when you think about, hey, are they really going to move on from this guy? I think about that scene and what happened last year for a guy that plays with the amount of effort that Maxx Crosby plays with and how he just wants to win. I think when things like that happen between player and organization, now you can start to talk about the possibility of him being traded because it might be in the best interest of the Raiders, but also in the best interest of Maxx Crosby.
A lot of these conversations happen at the Combine. Every team is there. So for viewers at home, Spytek is not only going to be taking questions from the media, he'll also be taking questions and fielding calls from other general managers. One more thing, though. Deluge of sports news from the NFL the next couple of days. Our first big one comes right now in real time. Mark Raimondi reporting this. Ian Cunningham says he spoke with Kirk Cousins and his agent recently, and the GM told them the plan was to release Kirk Cousins the first day of the league year. That means Kirk Cousins is going to not be a Falcon. But then the question is raised, where next for Cousins? He joined us on SportsCenter at the Super Bowl. He was open-minded about it all. We've got Jason McCourty here, our first big piece of news from the Combine. Your reaction, Kirk Cousins can be released by the Falcons.
Well, the first thing you said is that we know that Kirk Cousins will not be an Atlanta Falcon, and I would channel my Lee Corso on and say, not so fast,
Talk
my
about
friend.
it.
I think there's a chance that, yes, the contract kind of dictates that the Atlanta Falcons have to release him with all the money that had to come when they restructured him a year ago. I think there's a chance that they re-sign Kirk Cousins once they release him, because if you're Cousins, there's familiarity with Stefanski coming over, and you have just been in Atlanta for the last 2 years. You know the players in that locker room. So I think the best fit for Kirk Cousins may be just to return to Atlanta while Penix is recovering from his knee surgery and let Kirk Cousins run that offense under Stefanski and see what it can be.
Nick, I go back to a place he used to play and a coach he used to play for. Does the Vikings now make a lot of sense for Kirk Cousins with what they got with the question mark and J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, I think the Vikings are a good spot. It's interesting that he's going to get released, and the two top places are places that he played for very recently. And I think, like, those are both, like, play-action-centric systems where Kirk Cousins could succeed, or at least the coaches would be relying on that Kirk Cousins could succeed. And a year further removed from the Achilles, which we know a little bit more time would help. But I think that's the big question, is how good can Kirk Cousins be at this age and coming off of the recent injury history?
I can't stress this enough. The NFL news will be coming often, and it will be coming in a furious fashion over the next 2 days. So stay tuned here on ESPN. Let's go to the Cowboys, because George Pickens is a franchise tag candidate for the Cowboys. And after having career highs in catches, yards, and touchdowns in his 1 year in Dallas, VP of Personnel Stephen Jones spoke with reporters yesterday in a hallway at the Combine about ongoing contract talks. Take a listen.
Pickens, of course, leaning toward the franchise tag. We'll finalize that here over the coming week or 10 days, and then we'll go from there. We want Pickens here. Think the world of him. Want him here, love him, and I think he wants to be here. So all that's a plus. A lot of guys who we've tagged, participated in everything. Dak leading the way, and he played under 2 of them, so he never missed anything. Hopefully that'll be the case here.
I asked this question earlier about A.J. Brown waking up to this quote. You look at George Pickens and what he did last year in Dallas. Neek, if you're Pickens and you wake up and you hear Stephen Jones saying, well, Dak did it, so you should do it too. What is your reaction to that discussion?
Dak is a quarterback. That's different than everybody else on the roster. He is the franchise quarterback. It's very different. I came here with the understanding that you wanted me to perform, and my guess is if I perform, I would get rewarded. 1,400 yards is performing. I think he should expect some sort of reward, and I understand that they just paid someone at the same position, but it's not unheard of. When you have an offense as productive as this one is, I think it's fair for George Pickens to expect and hope and push to get his money, because he's showing that he deserves it, and his career, I think, could continue to escalate with the way that he played last year in Dallas.
There's 2 options here for the player. You could be the good soldier and say, yeah, you know what, I'm making the top 5 money at the position. I'll prove myself again. I'll be there at OTAs, and I'll be there at training camp. Then there's the, you know what, no, I'm going to ride this thing out, and you're going to have to pay me that extension. How do you think it goes with Pickens?
I don't think he shows up to everything. I think when you're in his position, you want to put some pressure on the franchise. You don't want them to think everything's just going to be okay and you're just going to show up for everything and try to run it back and do exactly what you did a year ago, because that's not a guarantee. George Pickens can do everything right, attend every single thing, go in as healthy as possible, and still not have maybe the 1,400 yards and the type of season that he had this season. So to me, you maximize what you just did. To Neek's point, they traded for you. You came over here, you did what you were supposed to do. You have some leverage. Try as hard as you can to get them to sign that long-term contract right now so you don't have to play with the risk of injury or performing another year, because you've just proven it. And it hasn't just been 1 year for George Pickens. He's played well without having elite quarterback play. Now when he got a guy like Dak Prescott playing at a high level, we got to see the fruits of that labor.
It's really interesting. Remember, Dallas did this last year with Micah Parsons, but in recent years, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. It seems like no coincidence. We'd like to now go to the NBA, because we are joined by our NBA experts, Vince